Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Investor Lab. My name is Goose.
My name is Gabby.
And Gabby, what's the Investor Lab all about? It's the auditory epicenter for passionate people seeking a life of freedom, choice, and abundance. Sorry, I shouldn't. I know you don't like surprises.
Bus thrown under.
Sorry, I know you don't like surprises. I shouldn't have done that.
Good episode.
Great episode. Why was it a good episode?
Relevant, helpful,
timely,
value packed.
It's got like tips. It's got 6 key points, right? So this is like a shopping list. I think they call it a listicle when it's written.
Do they?
Yeah.
Them.
The
hip people.
The them days.
Them.
The them days. So anyway, so there's 6. What we're talking about today is the 6 reasons that now is the best time of year to buy. And there are 6, and they're very good.
Sold.
Done. See you on the inside.
Bye.
So I'm having a few laughs on this one. The Christmas cheer is coming in strong. It's coming in hot.
It is.
I'm getting hot flushes. I'm getting cheer flushes. So let's stay on track because we've got to get through the intro so people can get into the juice of it. So there are 6 key reasons that now is the best time of year to buy.
Yep.
And I encourage you to check all these out and you use them to your advantage because they are good. We go all in and around them. We have a bit of fun. We mix them up in the bowl. We roll around in them a little bit. We do all kinds of stuff to make it fun and enjoyable and also supremely impactful. So I know you're going to love this episode. This is ideal for anyone who is thinking. No, actually, let me rephrase that. This episode is ideal for anyone who is financially prepared to buy right now. This is ideal for you. Right? You might be thinking, but I was thinking about waiting. If you're financially ready, if you've got the cash and you're all that stuff, listen to this episode. You're going to get a lot out of it. Now, if you're not financially ready, then listen to this episode and use it to seed your thinking for next year and then come back to it and listen to it again next year. This is a very timely episode that is going to be impactful for the people who are ready to take action right now. So, did I miss anything, Gabby?
No, I think it's just important if you are like most people at this time of year, you feel that pull to just kind of chill out and you feel that pull to wind down right now. And you're like, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines for the next little bit and just come back to it, January, February, and then I'll get going. It's important because as we talk about in the episode, it's like most people are thinking that way.
Yep,
totally. And so that means there's a huge change to activity. So now, really, if you want to listen to this episode, it's going to give you all the tips on how to make the most of this time when others are kind of just napping on the couch.
Hungover. We don't get hungover.
Not anymore. No.
Anyway, guys, let's get into it. So, as ever, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you react if you're watching this on some social platform. React. Give us a react.
A positive react.
Yeah, give us a good one. But make sure you subscribe. Subscribing is really awesome because then you get to know more about us when things come out. Whether we're on Spotify or YouTube or Apple. Anyway, let's get stuck into it. All right, guys, we'll see you on the inside.
Bye.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Investor Lab.
I need to stop laughing every time.
Why do you laugh?
I don't know. I think it just makes me smile.
Well, that's good.
That is good.
Well, Gabby, how are you?
Smiley.
Smiley. Well, that's good. Why?
Went for a walk. Nice walk.
Nice.
Live in a nice place. It's a good day.
It is a good day.
I'm lame sometimes. Sorry.
It's fine. Things can be nice and good and everything can just be just fine. Just peachy. That's okay.
Just peachy. How are you, Goose?
I'm stoked.
Stoked?
Yeah.
Why are you stoked?
Well, there's a couple of reasons I'm stoked. So, been finding some absolute crushes of properties. Like, I'm talking like weaponized. Like, I'm not this run-of-your-mill kind of like, oh, yeah, I think I found a cool house. Like, so sick. Like triplexes that can be subdivided.
Cool.
2 houses, 1 block, like just heaps of real sick properties, which makes me very excited. It makes me really excited. I love the sport of the deal. I love finding stuff that other people can't find, and not for us, for our clients. That's what gets me real juiced up in the mornings.
It's good to know. There you go.
There you go, guys. That's what gets me just up in the mornings. All right. So, but the other thing that I'm really pumped about is because we're racing towards the end of the year right now, and it's this time of year that gets me really excited because of the opportunities that this time of year presents. So part of it is I love the excitement of the fact that because what happens in real estate is that the whole industry kind of shuts down around Christmas, right?
Yep.
And so we're kind of running towards the finish line of the year, and there's so much that is going on, economically, psychographically, demographically. There's all this kind of stuff happening, and it feels like it's culminating in this amazing final push to get the best deals, and I'm loving it.
It does kind of feels a bit exciting, I think. I think this time of year, particularly in real estate, usually feels exciting. But I think this year, at the end of such a heavy year, it's also very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like we've, it feels like the economy's turned a bit of a corner. The taps are turning on. Money's starting to flow. Jobs are, more people are getting employed. There's jobs bouncing back. Sentiment is bouncing back. It's on, and it's really fun. Like there's been so many more people reach out just in the last week, just saying, "Hey, I know I haven't spoken in like whatever 6 months or 8 months, but I'm so keen. Let's get going, get the ball rolling." And that's just that's just a microcosm of what's happening more broadly across in the market. But it's fascinating.
What do you think? I mean, this is kind of what we're going to talk about today, is basically this time of year and how from our perspective and the general perspective, this is kind of arguably the best time of year to make really good moves. But what do you think is the main reason for those kind of people that are reaching out again now, when maybe they might have been on ice throughout the year and then suddenly they're like, you know what, I'm ready to go now?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious, I think, uncertainty. 2020 has been, let's just say challenging for a lot of people. Yeah. Even if it hasn't been challenging financially, it's been challenging psychologically and emotionally. There's been, people who their business has been going great, but they've been in lockdown at the same time. So even though things are good, they haven't been nice, So what that's done is just more broadly create a lot of uncertainty and doubt, particularly with the media. That at the start of the whole pandemic period, they were like, property prices are going to drop by 30%. I actually around the start of the pandemic, when it all started happening, and when there was their first initial talks about QE, I started saying then, I think that this is going to be the start of a very huge upswing. And I was lambasted by a lot of people on social media who said that I was dreaming, and they were caught up in the hype and hyperbole from the banks are saying this, the banks are saying that. Property prices dropped by like 2%, but they only really dropped in Sydney and Melbourne. The rest of the country, property markets have been going up and vacancy rates have been going down. I'm going a little off track here, but my point is that I think people are finally realizing that they don't need to listen to the media, and they're actually starting to get back to a sense of normality. The fact that we can now see even some of the most bearish commentators like Martin North, who I used to respect. However, he got so drunk on the popularity of being featured in all the media that he kept dragging this story of economic or housing market collapse through the coals, hoping to get one more publication to get him on there, and so what happened is a lot of people started listening because he was everywhere. The reality is now he's even backpedaling and saying, hey guys, actually, I think property markets are going to go good. And I think he's even started to partner with a finance company to try and offer people finance to buy. It's like, talk about a backpedal. So, I think people are starting to see through that noise, and, we've maintained a pretty consistent narrative throughout this whole experience that life is good if you know what you're doing. You've got to be careful, but you got to know what you're doing. And that the way you operate in the good times, it will dictate how you operate in the bad times, and vice versa. So we haven't changed our methodology. We haven't changed anything we're doing. Our clients have been getting great results. And I think the fact that more people are reaching out is that a lot of people have been watching what we've been doing over the last 8 months, more specifically, or over this year, and going, okay, actually, everything that you've said is being correct, and you have been getting good results. And okay, now I'm actually prepared to let go of my fear and start to take action. So it's really interesting. And I think more broadly speaking, that's because the economy's opened up a little bit, and things are starting to return to normal. Like these sorts of things, like we're going to be able to see our family for Christmas, and we weren't sure if that was going to happen for a long period of time. And now we're making plans to see our family, and all of this kind of stuff makes people feel happy and safe and secure, and start thinking about the future and start thinking about how they can become more prosperous.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of like when you're in that period of uncertainty, you kind of like you drop your eyesight to kind of just what's directly in front of you, like the next couple of weeks, couple of months, maybe.
Yep.
Because you just don't know. You're like, all I can focus on is what I know, which is right in front of me. I can't listen to the speculation about if it's going to go well, if it's not going to go well. Listen to this person, I should do that. Listen to that person, I should do that. But you're right. As the dust is kind of starting to settle a little bit in Australia, luckily we're very fortunate. But as it's kind of starting to re-normalize a little, people are starting to kind of lift their gaze and look a little bit more forward.
Totally.
And it's usually the ones where people have been, congruent and consistent with their message through this period, where you're like, okay, I will actually trust your opinion because you haven't been changing your mind every second, which is obviously, you see so much of that in the media. You see so much like you said, backpedaling. One person, one day they'll say this, and then the next day it's like it's all on fire, and the next day it's like rush and buy it now, and then the next day it's all upside down again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. It's like if you're the people that are consistent with their messaging are the ones that need to lead through the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess.
I think you're 100% right. And you touched on a really interesting point. Like when the stakes are high, you're only looking at what's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it like this. If you're free climbing on a cliff face, you're not stopping to check out the view. You're looking, where am I going to put my hand next? You're 100% focused on the exact next thing you need to do to make sure you don't fall. So the same thing goes. But then when things are a little safer and feel people have a bit more security, they're more happy to go, okay, cool, let's enjoy this experience and let's think about what we can do. And quite frankly, I think that we're heading towards a very strong property market upswing. And those who are positioning themselves now are the ones that are going to succeed the most. That's for sure.
Totally. I actually just listened to your interview with Akhil Patel a couple of episodes ago.
What did you think? What was the takeaway?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love high level like economic principles and concepts.
Yeah.
On a global scale, I think it's really fascinating. But guys, if you haven't listened to that, do go back and listen to it, because just to hear it coming from someone really like he's just really confident, and he's just like, it's just a fact. Like, this is the cycle and this is what's going to happen. Obviously, he's not being.
Well, he's an academic as well. He's not.
Yeah, he's not saying it's a fact in terms of like, hey, I'm trying to sell the idea so you go and invest. It's just like, it's just how the cycle is. It's from an academic perspective, it's really interesting. Totally.
So this kind of leads us into what we're going to be talking about today, right?
Yep.
So here's the thing: regardless of 2020 being 2020, regardless of any of that, this really is, I think, the best time of the year to buy. And a lot of people miss out, and a lot of people ask the question, or when. A lot of people ask things like, where is the best place to buy? And a lot of people often ask, when is the best time of year to buy? Mm-hmm. And I think there's two really good times to buy. And this is probably the best period right now that we're going into.
Christmas time.
So there's a few reasons. Should we start banging through there? There's 6 key reasons. There's 6 key reasons that we've identified that make this an opportune time for pretty much anyone who wants to get into the market.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah, so you wrote this email to our list earlier this week, I think.
Yeah. I sent it out. By the time this episode comes out, I would have sent it out a couple of weeks ago, hoping to spice people up and let them know what's going on. But if you're not on our email list, then make sure you subscribe. There should be a button on the website. Just head there, get involved. Send us an email. Say good day. Well, I'll personally, you know what? Send us an email to hello@dashdot.com.au, and I'll personally add you to our mailing list, and I'll send you a personal thank you and a little gift as well if you do that. So there you go. go. There's a little bit of insight. Right. So what do we? Come on, Gabby.
Yes.
Why on earth is this the best time of year to buy?
I think you need to tell me, Goose. I think you're chomping at the bit to tell me.
I'm fanging for it. All right.
6 reasons.
All right. So I'm you know me, I've got a propensity to go a little tangential. So your job.
So is there actually 10 reasons?
Maybe there might be. There might be. There might be. So you got to keep you on track, right?
I'm the bumper rails.
You're the bumper rails.
Let's go.
All right. So here's the thing. Let me just take a little zoom out a little second because that. Oh, I've already started. Oh no. I know. Oh, hang on. Back on track. Get back on track. Right. So no, I'm going to zoom out. All right. So
I'll allow it.
Okay, because 2020 has been pretty challenging, a lot of people have been sitting on their hands. You know, it's pretty natural that people are thinking, okay, cool, I'm actually just feeling like I'm starting to catch my breath for the first time. I feel like I'm just getting my head back above water and things are just coming good. Mm-hmm. I just need to take a little breather. And that's fine. That's fine. And that is totally understandable and acceptable. However, a lot of people are doing that. So one of the this is actually reason number 3, but I'm going to jump to it for reason number 1. It's actually one of the best reasons to act now is actually to beat the competition. Now, ordinarily, I would say that anyway at this time of year, and the reason being is the same psychology applies. Everyone's saying, well, it's almost Christmas. I'm thinking now, what about Christmas parties? When am I going to catch up with friends? When am I going to catch up with family? Are we going to plan a holiday? Where are we going to go for Christmas lunch? What are we doing for New Year's? And all of that kind of stuff takes a precedence in the spectrum of what people are thinking about. And they go, you know what? I'm still interested in building wealth, but I'm just going to park that to next year. I'll just wait until things kick off again next year. So typically what happens is between right about now, when this episode comes out, between right about like today and about January 25th, or I even say the 1st of February, a lot of other investors are out of the market because they're on a big extended siesta and they're just swanning around and, you know, having midday beers and eating chocolate for breakfast and doing all that kind of stuff that happens for about 2 months of the year here in Australia. So that's all happening right now. So what that actually means is a couple of really interesting things. Because so many people put it in the deal with it later basket and they go, okay, all right, I'm just going to deal with that later. It creates a significant pressure point in February and March when a lot of buyers rush back into the market. Now, I actually think that's going to be exacerbated this year massively. So that's the kind of natural flow of things. And even so last year we were sort of saying the same thing. We were like, okay, now's the best time to get in the market because most people are going to basically stop and deal with this after Christmas. But there wasn't the same pent-up demand. And there also wasn't $600 billion being pumped into the economy and all of these other kind of factors which are going to, you know, just absolutely make the property market go off. So what's happening right now is I think we're going to have an acceleration of both of those factors. There's going to be more people wanting to sit on the sidelines now, and there's going to be more people rushing back in February and March. So the thing there is that if you can get in now when everybody else has taken a break, you're going to have get access to the best opportunities. And also, you're going to benefit when everybody else starts rushing back into the market in the first and second quarter next year, and the property prices start to go up. So the opportunity now is to make significant gains that you might not be able to make if you jump in later. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, because I think the concept of if you think about yourself as an individual, it's very easy to picture yourself going, you know what, it is this time of the year. It's been a crazy year. I'm just going to hold 5. Like I'm trying to coordinate when I see my family. I'm trying to do all that. I do want to buy an investment property in the next coming months, but like right now I'm just not going to do it because other things are priority. Not debating that other things are bigger priority, but so if you take that on an individual level, you can rationalize it, but it's when you apply that most people are thinking the same way. Yeah. And that's how you get this effect. And it's kind of like you're saying, you know, in terms of supply and demand come February, March, that pent-up demand kind of takes back over and that's when you get a surge. But at this time of year, it's like there's the demand has wound back or is about to wind back when everyone kind of transitions into Christmas mode, but the supply is still there. So you get more, which I think we'll probably go into in the next point, is like you'll get more kind of motivation from the sellers because the stock is still there. Like people still want to sell probably more than ever, right?
Yeah, 100%. So there's a kind of big thing there that you touched on, that what most people are doing, and most people are doing one activity. You've got to think, how can I pivot and go around the outside and seek a competitive advantage? Now, this isn't all about beating the other guy and all of that kind of stuff, but it's about finding opportunities for you to accelerate. As Mark Twain said, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And this is exactly one of those circumstances where you can go, okay, what is everyone else doing? And what am I doing? And how can I differentiate myself in the pack? And as you touched on there, another key reason is motivated sellers, right? So a lot of people have been saying this year, oh my God, there's going to be all these forced sales and forced closures. And oh my God, I'm just going to swoop in and pick up all these bargains. Nonsense, not happening. The reason for that is because the homeowners have been supported. There's been moratoriums on bank foreclosures. It's just like, you're going to be waiting a long time. You're going to be waiting a long time, and you're probably still not even going to see the result you want. But regardless, there are motivated sellers. And I don't mean because the economy is collapsing and they're all freaking out. It's because, let me ask you this, Gabby. If a homeowner or a property owner has a property for sale before Christmas, why do you think that is?
Because I would like to sell it before Christmas.
Yeah, because they want to sell it before Christmas. If they didn't want to sell it before Christmas, they wouldn't list it before Christmas. Yeah. So guess what they want to sell? Now, anyone who even has a vague understanding of how our society works will realize the fact that if it doesn't sell before Christmas, it probably isn't going to sell until February. And you know what happens then? The listing becomes much older, and all of a sudden it's been listed maybe for 900 days or whatever. And so then it becomes a little bit more open for negotiation because, it's been listed for a few months now. And so what can end up happening is they can end up butchering their price. So for a lot of vendors who are trying to sell, they're motivated to sell for a couple of reasons. A, they want to get it done before Christmas, so it's all done and dusted, and they can go and focus on their family, their life, have a good time. Yay, I just sold the house. Woo, cool, let's have a little break. They don't want to have it sitting on the market for months and months and months on end, only to be negotiated down because it's an older listing and all of that kind of stuff, and it starts to become a less desirable listing in the suburb because it's been up there for a long time, all of that kind of stuff. So there's these factors that play into it that make them want to sell sooner. Because if you can sit there and say, well, if I don't sell it before Christmas, I'm probably going to have to discount it anyway, and I'm also going to have the holding cost for longer, and I won't have the freedom to do what I want over the holidays, you're actually more likely to want to discount it on the front end, right, to make your gain now and to just have it done and dusted, so you got less to worry about. Now, that doesn't mean that all properties are going to be 20% off coming up to Christmas. But what it does mean is that it gives you an opportunity to navigate the negotiation in a very different way, because you're going to have vendors who are motivated to get their property sold before Christmas.
Totally. I was about to touch on that as well, actually, as you see this playing out in terms in negotiation. So we see this playing out a lot at the moment with our clients. Is most settlements, we might have gone under contract and gone unconditional in the last couple of weeks, but most are trying to settle before Christmas, because that's really when it's done and dusted. It's out of my hands. I've sold the property. I've wrapped it up. And now I get to relax over this period and get my feet back on the ground and figure out how to approach next year. So we're seeing that a lot. It's like, okay, the weeks before Christmas is like where most things are trying to settle. But that's part of the beauty of negotiating in this time of year, is because if you do know that a vendor, they might say that they want a certain price, but they also want certain terms. So that leaves you, if they're more actually motivated to make sure that it settles before Christmas, and you're flexible with that, then it leaves room open to negotiate on the price, because you might suit their terms better.
Yeah, 100%. And that's actually one of the key reasons. So I think we've covered three, right? So we've covered beat the competition.
Yep.
We've covered motivated sellers.
Yep.
And you just started hitting on using terms to maneuver the price, because that's one of the key things. You can only ever negotiate on two key components: price or terms. Do you want the money or do you want the favorable terms? And as you touched on there, it's a really big lever for both people, because sometimes if a buyer wants to settle sooner or later, then the vendor will have a better opportunity to navigate that to get the price they want. Vice versa, if you can understand the needs of the vendor, they may say, look, I want to sell now, but because it's Christmas, I can't move until the 1st of February. So then what you could do in that scenario is you could say, that's fine. I want it now. I'll secure it now, which is a great strategy because you can secure it at the price and not have the holding costs. Yeah. So long settlements can actually be really, really fun because if you buy in a really in a busy market or in a good market where the property prices are going up, and you buy a property for, let's say, $300,000, and then the market moves up by 5% over the next 90 days, which is not unheard of, then you could be $15,000 up by the time that it settles, and you haven't had to carry the cost of debt over that period of time. So you can actually make a cheeky little win there if you play your negotiation or play your terms correctly. But that's how it can play out. If you can understand the vendor's motivation, and for more tips on this, just go back and listen to one of our episodes called The Art of Ethical Negotiation. And we touch on all of that kind of stuff, how to find out the vendor's motivation and what to do with it. But if you can understand that, you're in a position, you're in the hot seat to go, okay, well, how do I want to play this? Particularly as an investor. The benefit of being an investor is you're not trying to move into the home. Mm-hmm. So if you can get, as long as your finance is in good standing order and there's no rush there, then you've got the ability to navigate it to get the best price and be flexible with terms. So for example, if the vendor was saying, no, I want this done and dusted before Christmas Day. Now, this episode, I think, is going to come out on about the 10th of December, I think, right? Roughly. So that if you found someone today that said, I want to settle in the next 14 days, I want to settle in the next 14 days. Now, if you have your finance together and you can do that, you can do all the due diligence, there's a very strong potential that you could make that happen. But you would obviously, because of the additional stress and the additional work and all of that kind of stuff, you would obviously want to be compensated by a lower price. And so this is how you can navigate those two things really powerfully in this current market, because there's such a dead spot, because there is such a big dead spot in the market.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that previous podcast episode we did on ethical negotiation, because it is a really good episode. But it just made me think about, I think you touched on, like, investors at this time of year tend to be in a better negotiation position purely from the aspect of homeowners. This is generally an emotional time of year for homeowners, right? For people. But if you've got a home, this time of year, you might be more emotionally charged about the terms of the property that you want to sell versus if you were trying to sell it in June. So like it might be about, I need a certain price for this certain reason emotionally, or I need it to happen, like I need it under contract by this date, or I need it to settle by this date, or I just want to have a relaxing time, so I want as long a settlement as possible, and I don't really want to move this time of year. And there's all this emotion that comes from the homeowner perspective, whereas an investor, if you're pretty flexible in your timing and the terms, that's really how you can leverage it, because it's not about taking advantage of their emotional situation. It's just being accommodating to what they need, versus you might have the same vendor, the same property, the same location, as I said, in June, and you might not have that same leverage. So I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
But again, go back and listen to that ethical negotiation episode, because we go a bit deeper into that.
100%. Do you know who else likes selling at Christmas?
Who?
The salespeople.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So here's the thing. It's Christmas bonus time in the sales office, right? So if they hit their quotas and if they can, so they are because obviously the real estate selling agents, they're representing the vendors. Yep. So if they're motivated for the vendor to sell as well, they're more likely to try and, I don't want to use the wrong word here, but encourage their vendors to take the offers that are there. The reason for that is they want to get bigger commission bonuses before Christmas. If they can hit their quota, they're going to get sales bonuses. So they're all racing to the finish line as well. They're going, how many properties can we sell? Let's get going, right? So all of a sudden you've got all of these other people out there in the marketplace who are also trying to get all the properties sold. And so that you can use that to your advantage as well, particularly if you are prepared. If you've got your finance ready and you get everything ready, and you're like, guys, I'm ready to go. Like, no stuffing around here. I'm pre-approved. I've got cash in the bank. I'm ready to buy. Yep. All I need to do is my due diligence. And if you're ready to do it, let's make it happen. Bam. Now is the time of year that you can start to just go, here's the deal. I'm not here to stuff you around. I'm here to buy a property and I'm going to buy it at this price. And if you want to sell it at that price, I am finance ready and I'm ready to go. And if you want to do that, let's do some business together. And if not, I'll leave right now. And then watch the sales agent leap at the opportunity to have a quick and easy sale. He already understands the terms. When you do something like that, he already understands the price. All he needs to do is get the sale over the line. You've delivered him a commission. And all he needs to go and do is to exchange that commission for cash.
Again, it's so interesting to think about motivation, like what's motivating the sales agent at this time of year to help with the conversation. Because again, it's like you might have that same sales agent trying to sell a property in June. And if you went in with that tactic, it probably wouldn't work as well. If you went in with like, this is what I want, this is how it's done. Like, I know that you want this and I can deliver you this. All I want is X, Y, Z.
Totally.
Probably wouldn't work compared to this time of year. It's like, I completely understand your motivation is like, get as many sales as possible to increase your personal commission at this time of year. And I want to help you to do that. So let's get this over and done with as quick as possible.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, it's really interesting because when the markets are busier and they're not running up to a deadline. So actually, typically March and September are the months where they'll more likely be like, I'll see what other offers come along. But December and in fact June, coming up to the end of the financial year, is another time. So June is actually the other best time of the year to buy, in my opinion. It's always a good time to buy, but these are the kind of key things where you start to get these emotional triggers happening. But yeah, now's the time where you can go, hey, let's get it done. Let's get it done. Yeah. Wouldn't you like to have a nicer holiday over Christmas? So you can kind of do all that. Now,
it's not bribing, guys.
It's not.
Don't bribe them.
I don't know. Give it a go.
Would you like to go to Hawaii? I can pay for that.
Oh, that's good. That is good. Well, actually, you know what? A little story. So, like one of the properties that we just found for one of our clients. Sometimes buyers agents do a thing with selling agents called conjuncting, and there's nothing typically wrong with it. But the way some buyers agents work is they say to the selling agent, "Look, I've got a buyer for this property, but I want like 50% of the commission," and it's called a conjunction. Right? I don't know what the commission split is. It could be 20. I don't know because we don't conjunct. We don't do that. But that's the way that some agencies work together. So, for example, and that can work from selling agent to selling agent too. So, for example, if you've got a selling agent from Ray White in Double Bay, and then you've got a selling agent from, I don't know, First National in Double Bay. I don't know if there is a First National in Double Bay. Yamba, First National Yamba. If one of those selling agents has a buyer, but they don't have a property for them, but somebody else has the property, they can go to the other agent and say, "Hey, look, I've actually got a buyer, and they're ready to buy your property," and then they do what's called a conjunction on the sales commission, right? Okay, so that's a conjunction. So we found an absolute screamer of a property yesterday. It's an absolute ripper. So I was on the phone with the agent, and I was getting them all jacked up and, getting them all motivated. I was like, come on, let's do a deal. That's all the stuff we've been talking about in this episode. It was really fun. And she's like, okay, all right, let's do it. Let's get it done. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the conjunction, right? What's the conjuncting split? And I said, oh, no.
Ooh.
No, you got that all wrong. No, we don't take a conjunction fee. I want you, I said to her, I want you to have all of the commission. And she just like that, and she went, oh my God, this deal just got even better.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, bam.
Nice.
And you can do that because you can play to their, what they're looking for. They want to serve their clients well. Part of serving their clients well is to get the property sold, but also guess what? They're in the business of making money too. So if you can help them, if you can make it as easy as possible for them and make it as attractive as possible and be prepared, then life's good. Life's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here's another thing, because it's not all about making money. Sometimes it's a little bit about saving money too.
Is it?
It is.
How so?
Well, land tax. Land tax is a bit of so here's one for in New South Wales and Victoria. The land tax date falls on midnight on 31st of December. So that can play into people's thinking. If some people might want to sell before the land tax date, so they don't trigger that. Some people might want to. Now, if you're looking to buy and you're not concerned about the threshold, then you're in a great position to negotiate on the price. Okay, so because some people want to avoid that trigger, that 31st of December trigger, and having more money go out of their pocket. So that's another opportunity to save money for some people.
So it's like end of financial year sales, but end of land tax year sales.
Exactly.
Great. There you go, guys.
There you go, guys. There you go, guys. All right. Awesome. So that's just something to consider and something to think about. People should be thinking about land tax anyway and making sure that they're not going to breach the land tax threshold, because sometimes a good deal can go bad if all of a sudden you've got to start paying $7,500 a year or more in land tax. So make sure that you are paying attention to that. But if you're paying attention to it, other people are paying attention to it as well. And if you're say buying off an investor or something like that, they will be more cognizant about the operating costs and the profitability of their portfolio. So you may have the opportunity to say, let's get it done. Let's get it done right now so that you don't trigger the next bout of land tax, and then you're actually going to end up making more money. And then you could actually use that as a tool. You could calculate, and just hypothesizing here, you could calculate the land tax amount and say, look, if we get it done by now, I'll wear all the land tax for the next year. I'll get the land tax bill. So I want that much of a discount. And you can start to use that to your advantage as well.
Yeah, okay. So, look, the start of this, I know we kind of touched on specifically 2020 and how this time of year is arguably going to be the best opportunities that we've seen this year. But these kind of principles that we just went through, they apply every year. So it's like, if you're listening to this and you're like, cool, well, it's already December and it's probably too late for me. Because as we're saying, it's like, if you're prepared enough and you're in a situation, these are kind of the things you can think about to help with negotiations and whatnot. But they're, like I said, they're applicable every year. So it's like, if this is going to help you get prepared for next year,
totally.
So you can be in a position where you're like, okay, I can be flexible with my terms. I can be flexible with when I need to settle. Then, revisit this episode next year if you're not ready right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this applies every Christmas. Every Christmas.
Christmas.
I'm not sure what to make of that. Every Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean this does. So here's the other thing. This does apply every Christmas.
Every Christmas.
Here's the other thing. This is just a little bit of an aside. This is probably not one of the the 6 reasons why the festive season is the best time to buy. But here's the other thing. From an emotional perspective for yourself, and we're all catching up with family. All right, we all know what it's like, right? For most of us, we don't see friends and family that often. It's usually this time of year. We all sort of catch up, and you see your uncle and your cousin and your friends and the family, and everyone's, what have you been doing? What's been happening? Tell us about life, all of that kind of stuff. And no one likes to have no stories, right? No one likes to have no stories. There's a real primal part of every single one of us that thrives on status. Now, I don't mean status like, yeah, I just got a new Lambo, man. And yeah, I've got a sweet new Ferrari. It's cool. But the status of succeeding in life, the status of knowing that you are a winner and not a loser, right? And this is a prime, I'm not calling anyone a loser here, but it's that primal undertone of why status is important. Now, imagine if in a year of turmoil and tumultuousness, you're sitting around the Christmas table, having a big lunch. The prawns are on the barbie. No shrimps here, prawns. And you're able to be able to tell people that you have won. Actually, you know what? I progressed my personal wealth journey. Actually, you know what? I've made some really wise investment decisions. Actually, you know what? While the rest of the world was in chaos, I was in control. That is a pretty powerful motivator to want to make sure that you can actually close out this year with a win, I think.
I also love the impact that then has on the rest of the people around you. That's part of what motivates me to do anything, is like, I want to be able to inspire other people to do what you're doing. So it's like, it's not even like, there's definitely the status point where you want to feel like you've done something cool and you've got a cool story to share.
Yeah.
But it's also about, like you said, if you show up at Christmas and you're talking about your wealth strategy and how I'm actually doing something at the moment. I'm not just talking about it. I'm not just daydreaming about it. I'm actually doing something.
Yeah.
And then you see everyone around you kind of start thinking to themselves like, it's probably time to do something. and then that spurs that within them, and they're like that. Sometimes that's all other people need. So that's what I think. I think that's another layer to being able to show up with that kind of experience, being like, look, I'm doing something. You don't have to be like, you guys do it too, but it's just naturally what happens.
Well, you know what, you touched on something really, really interesting there, the tribe effect, right? Because nobody talks about building wealth. Very few people openly talk about building wealth. People talk about it in private and only with other people that they know are already talking about this kind of stuff. You don't often see many people go, hey, yeah, I've got 4 properties. How many have you got? It just doesn't really happen. Though it probably should, right? Because the more people can talk about it, the more it gets normalized. And what you tend to find, or certainly what I tend to find, is when we have these conversations, when we're brave enough to say, hey, this is what I'm doing to achieve greater levels of freedom, choice, and abundance, prosperity, joy, happiness, and fulfillment, it triggers other people to start thinking that that's okay too, and to not be scared. It stops demonizing this idea that personal success is at the detriment of others, because we're not playing a zero-sum game. You winning doesn't mean that somebody else is losing. That is a scarcity mindset. But helping people to open up a dialogue around that is critically important. And that is the thing that triggers more success in other people. And at the end of the day, if we all become more abundant and more prosperous in our life, the whole society gets better. And that's the thing. And anyone who thinks that there is only a finite amount of capital or only a finite amount of resources or everything's finite, that's a scarcity mindset. And those kind of people are not going to get ahead in life. So understanding that you can inspire change in somebody else just by sharing your story, not with braggadocio, not with hubris, but just be real. Just be like, you know what? I'm really excited because you know what? I just bought this property and it's got 6% yield, and man, it's really cool. There's this infrastructure project going on there, and I'm really excited by it. And I'm really happy that I'm taking control of my own life. It doesn't need to be like, yeah, man, I'm getting rich. It can just be,
it better not be like that. Stop listening to this podcast if you're saying those words.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, just by being proud enough to say, I am seeking better. I'm on a quest for better, and that is my choice. You elevate other people to go on a quest for better as well. Totally. And I think having this, it's not all about making money. I think it's about finding fulfillment, and I think it's about seeking out betterment, better than now, better than you were, better, to continuously seek the edge of better in your life. And if you can inspire other people to do that too, man, they're going to be so much better off because they're going to be on a quest for better, and they'll start to improve. And as people start to improve in one area of life, they start to improve in others, and that can help people become healthier and wealthier and wiser and all of that kind of stuff. And Gabby, you haven't stopped me. I've gone very tangential. What's going on here?
I was just letting you go. Just letting you go. And bring it back. Come back.
We are not going to get a dog. We are not going to get a dog. We'll be like, okay, take the dog to the park, and you'll be like, I'll come. Where's the dog? I just let it go. Come back. I'm like, it's not even in the park. Come back.
Because you see it have so much fun expressing itself and sharing wisdom. Like, oh, look at it go. I'll bring it back eventually. Go off, have an adventure.
You just put the food out and let it come back in its own due course.
No dog for Goose and Gabby. Got it.
Okay, anyway, we've gone way off piece. So let's recap because this has been a fun episode.
Yep.
Let's recap. So number one, there's 6 reasons why now is the best time of year to buy.
Sweet.
Number 1, motivated sellers. We covered all that kind of stuff. People want to sell before Christmas. That's why they got them up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, no one likes tax. So in New South Wales and Victoria, land tax gets triggered on December 31st.
Yep.
Cool. Number 3, you can beat competition and you can succeed, and don't follow the crowd and all that kind of good stuff. Great. Number 4, it's Christmas bonus time in the sales office. So selling agents are more motivated to try and get rid of properties now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, no one likes last season's fashion. So if it's been on the market for too long, it's going to feel like it's discounted. There is a reason that everything goes on sale on Boxing Day. It's because it's like, it's past that cool time. Same thing happens with properties. Number 6, you can use the terms to maneuver the price.
Awesome.
So good.
Value packed.
Value.
Are we allowed to say that? Is that weird?
Value packed.
We are so valuable.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the podcast episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is value packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Value packed.
Value packed. Anyway, if you thought this was value packed, then let us know. Send us a little smoke signal.
Love heart.
Skywriter.
Either will do.
Yeah.
Dog. Don't send us a dog.
Send us an eggplant emoji.
Don't send Gabby a dog.
Don't send Gabby a dog. Just send eggplant emojis.
Don't do that either.
Okay,
Guys, don't do that.
Okay, don't do that.
Any other emoji is fine.
Any other emoji. Okay, just send us an emoji. Send us an emoji somehow.
In an email.
You just send one emoji in an email. That'd be great.
Pick your favorite emoji.
Send an emoji to hello@dashdot.com.au. Any emoji.
And
let us. It's almost like if you're stuck in a mine. It's like, let us know you're here. Like 2 taps on the rock, and just send any emoji. Let us know you're here. Do that because that'd be great. But more so, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe.
Wouldn't it be great? It'd be great.
Yeah, no. I'm hoping we're going to get a whole bunch of emojis with no words.
I'm excited.
No words, no email signatures, nothing.
It's going to make my day.
Just send us an emoji. That'll be our Christmas present.
Better
if you want to
pick
send
the
us a
best
Christmas, just send an emoji. And aside from that, make sure whatever platform you're on right now, whatever medium you are using to interact with this audio visual experience, hit subscribe. Ding, bing, bang, bang, ding. Hit subscribe right now. Just stop what you're doing. Take a big deep breath and don't breathe out until you've hit subscribe. There you go. That's it. That's as simple as that. That's it. You've just subscribed. So you're looking at me like, what the hell is going on?
I'm enjoying it.
Okay, cool. So once you've subscribed, that's great. So once you've subscribed, you've just done that. Now, quickly send us an emoji, hello@dashdot.com.au, and then think of one person that you could share this with that they're going to benefit from this episode, and just hit. Hey, just one. Just go. Hey, Davey, just thinking of you. Check this out. Done. Send it to them. That'd be great. All right, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.